We live in interesting times. Today's stories. Paris holds climate march to demand policy change. At least 41 are dead in Uganda's landslide.
All of this place was houses.
President Trump vows severe punishment if a U.S. journalist is killed by Saudi.
We're going to get to the bottom of it, and there will be severe punishment.
Thousands rally in Chicago against Trump's, quote, anti-woman agenda.
That when progressives pay attention and show up, we win.
Hurricane Michael death toll hits 17 and it could rise. Plus, Hurricane Michael tears apart Panama City. Hello everyone, I am Rose Papa Angeles, bringing you stories from around the globe. And this is Eagle News, Washington, D.C. Following the success of September's climate campaign, some 80 citizen marches are taking place across France, Switzerland, Luxembourg, and Belgium. According to a count carried out by their current cabinet for a media group, in Paris, the march brought together some 14,500 demonstrators. Valérie Masson-Damot, co-chair of an IPCC or Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change Working Group, tells a crowd of demonstrators at Place de la République, it all depends on what we do now and right away.
Extrêmement important. Et nous, en fait, notre rapport, il met sur la table une somme de connaissances. Et cette connaissance, elle a pour but d'éclairer des choix et de susciter des actions. Et donc, c'est pour moi évident d'être présente pour cette marche pour le climat. Et je suis là avec ma mère et mes filles également.
Vous pensez que le fait de faire cette marche, l'être humain se marche un peu sur la tête, quand on manque vraiment de bon sens. Je discutais tout à l'heure avec un jeune homme, c'est vrai qu'on culpabilise beaucoup l'individu et on ne met pas beaucoup en question les gros trusts qui font un peu n'importe quoi et qui polluent aussi allègrement. Et donc voilà, il y a un peu de... Voilà, on manque vraiment de bon sens au niveau de la façon dont on procède et on organise la société à l'heure actuelle, quoi.
Personne. Et nous, on est là aujourd'hui pour dire au gouvernement, aux acteurs économiques, à tous les acteurs, qu'il faut prendre des décisions, qu'on a besoin de prendre des mesures qui soient ambitieuses pour le climat, parce qu'on est tous concernés et je pense que les mobilisations d'aujourd'hui...
Je suis ici pour montrer qu'il faut changer nos habitudes de consommation, qu'il faut que ça vienne de nous et non pas des politiciens. Il y a beaucoup trop d'ignorance. À un moment donné, il faut que le mouvement vienne du peuple et qu'ensuite on passe des lois pour supprimer les plastiques, pour changer notre mode de consommation, changer notre mode de société. Et il faut que ça vienne de nous.
Et puis moi, je pense qu'il faut montrer voilà, en fait, qu'il y a vraiment une attente vis-à-vis des pouvoirs publics et des décideurs d'une volonté de changement. Et puis en fait, on voit bien que là, il y a eu la démission de Nicolas Hulot et que ce qui se passe actuellement, donc au niveau du gouvernement et du gouvernement Macron, c'est pas du tout suffisant.
Vous êtes
Disaster officials and survivors said Friday at least 41 people were killed after a river in eastern Uganda burst its banks, sending a torrent of mud and rocks barreling into homes. Rescue teams continued picking through the rubble late Friday, searching for survivors and victims of the disaster that took place the previous day in the eastern Bududa district. An unknown number of people remained missing. Hilary Onek, Uganda's Minister for Relief, Disaster Preparedness and Refugees, said 41 lives have been lost, but they're still going ahead digging, trying to look for whether there are other bodies in the riverbed somewhere. He said there are casualties up in the hills, referring to higher ground where the river burst its banks before washing away homes lower down. Onek said 38 bodies had so far been found, as well as dismembered limbs believed to belong to 3 more individuals. Survivors spoke of panic and horror as water cascaded down the hillside. At the hillside Nanyinza village, the Sumi River rushed past the ruins of a concrete bridge swept away by the heavy rainfall.
All of this place was houses, people were there, and since it was a market day, people were drinking, people were from the market. And this, all of the water came from up with a force, full force. Right now, we don't know even the number of people who are dead. And since then, the government has not even bothered to come in and assist us.
As of today, we have a total of 10, and we have referred some. Hopefully, we get some means of taking them. As we refer them, we have to look around for some stronger people to carry them down before they could access the cars.
Up next, President Trump vows severe punishment if a U.S. journalist is killed by Saudi. Thousands rally in Chicago against Trump's, quote, anti-woman agenda. Hurricane Michael death toll hits 17 and it could rise. Eagle News Washington, D.C. will return in a moment. Welcome back. You're watching Eagle News Washington, D.C. U.S. President Donald Trump has said Saudi Arabia could be behind the disappearance of missing journalist Jamal Khashoggi and warned Washington would inflict severe punishment if he was murdered. The Saudi critic has not been seen since he walked into the kingdom's consulate in Istanbul on October 2nd. With Turkish official accusing Riyadh of murdering him inside a diplomatic mission.
And I will be also calling King Salman of Saudi Arabia, because I think it's appropriate for me to ask him what is going on. We're going to get to the bottom of it, and there will be severe punishment.
Thousands of people made their disdain for President Donald Trump heard Saturday at a rally and march in Chicago aimed at galvanizing support for Democrats in the upcoming November midterm elections. Angered by the bitter fight over new U.S. Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh and what they call the anti-woman agenda of the Trump administration and the Republican Party, women and men rallied in the Windy City. The March to the Polls event, which began in Grant Park and was to wrap up downtown, came just as voter registration deadlines neared in most states and early voting ramped up in more than a dozen states, including Illinois. Hillary Clinton appeared in a video message played on a giant screen encouraging people to register to vote. Echoing the general sentiment that the election is a barometer of Trump's popularity, Clinton said, "Imagine being able to hold this administration accountable."
That when progressives pay attention and show up, we win.
3 days after the devastating passage of Hurricane Michael, search teams in Florida pressed their hunt for victims into hard-to-reach areas Saturday. As the death toll rose to 17, and officials scrambled to deliver aid to those who lost everything. The mammoth storm, which made landfall as a Category 4 storm on Wednesday, claimed lives in 4 states, but the Sunshine State suffered the worst damage by far. Large part of the state's panhandle were pulverized by the strong winds and rain, and 8 storm-related deaths have been reported in Florida so far. Governor Rick Scott said Mexico Beach is devastated. Mexico Beach is the town hardest hit by the hurricane, the most powerful to hit the United States in decades. While touring the town of 1,000 people on the Gulf of Mexico, he said it's like a war zone. Rescue teams with sniffer dogs were searching for possible victims buried under the rubble in the debris-strewn community. Brock Long, head of the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, warned that the death toll could yet rise. Government and private relief centers were opening up to provide badly needed food, water, and other aid to people whose lives had been upended by the monster storm. As somber residents began making it back to their homes, officials said it could take 10 days to compile a final damage estimate. In Mexico Beach, dozens of structures, homes, shops, and restaurants were lifted off their foundation by storm surge and winds of 155 miles per hour. Some were moved hundreds of feet inland, while others were simply smashed to bits. Building codes on Florida's panhandle in the state's northwest are less rigorous than in the state's south, where severe hurricanes hit more frequently. Coming up, Hurricane Michael tears apart Panama City. Eagle News Washington, D.C. will return shortly. This is Eagle News, Washington, D.C. I am Rose Papa Angeles. More on Hurricane Michael. Eagle News takes us to Panama City, Florida, where the monster storm left nothing but devastation. Melissa Allen reports.
Hurricane Michael, the strongest storm to hit the continental U.S. in 26 years, raged through the Florida Panhandle on Wednesday. Forceful winds reaching up to 155 miles per hour down trees and power lines, blocking major roadways throughout the region. Homes and stores were stripped of their windows and roofs, while others were reduced to unrecognizable amounts of debris. Widespread flooding has hampered rescue efforts, which began Wednesday evening. In Wakulla County, just south of the state capital, 9 feet of storm surge was reported by the Sheriff's Department. Eagle News drove to Panama City and witnessed the devastation Hurricane Michael left. Impassable roads, uprooted trees, damaged power lines, and devastated houses. According to police, there is neither electricity nor access to water. A state of emergency was declared in 35 counties, and Florida Governor Rick Scott announced in a news release that the emergency order was approved. Governor Scott also stated that he will continue to be in constant communication with both state and local emergency management officials to focus now on search and rescue and recovery efforts. I'm Melissa Allen, and always 1 with 25.
Thank you, Melissa. That is today's Eagle News, Washington, D.C. Join us tomorrow for stories that matter to you. Visit our websites at Eaglenews.PH and EagleNewsLive.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/EagleNewsPH. Thank you for watching. I am Rose Papa Angeles, and I am 1 with 25.